All right, so in this lesson, we're going to go over how to actually solve these absolute value equations um, for x. Right? So, given a y value, just like any other function works. All right, so like here is a function. I'll make the function blue, right? And this function can be mathematically represented by -3, the absolute value of x minus -3 plus 4, or x minus -3 equals 4. Okay, so there's my my function in blue, right? And then y equals 4 is right here. You can see this line y equals 4. It's orange. It's right there. All right, so that's my y equals 4. Right, and the solutions over these two intersect. So like right here and right here. Right, so if we zoom in on this, we can see that the value, the solution for x when y is 4 is this point and this point, and so it's going to be -1, x equals -1, and then so that's -1, x equals -1 right there, and we have x equals 7 right there. Okay, so it's pretty easy to recognize on a graph if you understand how functions work. So how do I solve it algebraically? If I didn't have a graph, or I didn't want to take the time to make a graph because I didn't have it because I was taking a test or something. Okay, well, this is what you got to do. You got to arrange the equation so that you have nothing except the thing in absolute value bars by itself on one side, and then the everything else on the other side. Hope ideally one term or one constant term. So once you get that like that, what you want to do is clear these absolute value bars. And the way to clear these absolute value bars on this side is by putting them on this side, right? So you'll say that x minus 3 equals the absolute value of 4, okay? And then that'll break into two different equations, right? You'll have x minus 3 equals the absolute value of 4 is +4, and x minus 3 equals -4. Right, so now you can solve just by moving the 3 over. When you move the 3 over here, it becomes +3 in both instances, right? So no more 3 on that side. So you're going to have x equals 7 and x equals -1. Okay, so there's one example. It's pretty simple. Let's go to another one. This one's a little bit different here. Right, it's instead of having the absolute value of minus something equals 4, it has the absolute value of just one thing equals -7 equals -5. So solving algebraically, let's do that one first and then check it on the table. Right, so we're going to get the thing in absolute value bars by itself. It's the absolute value of x. So let's move this 7. Let's move this 7 over here to make it +7. So the absolute value of x equals -5 plus 7, so it's going to equal 2. Right, so then we're going to clear the absolute value bars by putting them here and getting rid of them there. So it's going to be, and this will x equals the absolute value of 2, right, which x is going to be equal to 2 and -2. Now let's look at this and see what actually happened here. So what we did is we moved this 7 or excuse me, this minus 5, it's the absolute value of x. So the absolute value of x, right, minus 7 is going to be the absolute value of 5, right? So if I move this up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see right here that we have 0, and then we have x equals 2 and negative 2 right here and right here. So there's my function. Maybe I'll move this down like that as my function right there. Okay. And then my what I actually got was x equals negative 5, right? So if I move that 7 over, it was the absolute value of 2 and negative 2 right there. Okay, so that's just another way to look at how things work. And you see, if you recognize here that when I have the absolute value minus something equals that, the y-intercept is or excuse me, the x-intercept is 0, or it's 0, right? If I have x minus 7 equals negative 5, it's just the x, it shifts down the whole v function. Okay, so let's look at another one here and just go through some of the motions, right? So here I have, you know, two of those similar examples. Well, here's a different example right here, right? So I got to the thing where it's going to be divided by here, but first, before I divide, I have to clear these. So the way to clear these is by putting the absolute value bars on the other side. So this is going to be 6x equals the absolute value of 21. But this is supposed to be 24, but that's okay. It would be, let's make it 24 just to make the math simpler. Okay, right? So it would, that way it just doesn't come out as a fraction. Okay, so now I'm going to clear my these sides by saying that 6x equals negative 24 and 6x equals 24. Divide both sides by 6. It's the coefficient of my variable term. And then for here, x is going to be equal to negative 4, and x is going to be equal to positive 4, because 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, so that's how you do those. If it would have been 21, negative 21 6, and positive 21 6, which you could divide both by 3 to make it 7 halves. So, but we're going to go with 24 just to make the math easier. All right, so that's an example of when you do it with your division. Let's see if I can find a combination of those. Maybe the next lesson. Right, so there's the different ways to do that, really. It's not too complicated. Hope that helps.